Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel, thank you. Today is explanation of upcoming episode of Renegade Immortal based on novel. So let's start. Ting Huiyuan slapped his bag of holding and a giant sword flew out. The sword looked very ancient. He bit the tip of his tongue and spat out fresh blood. His entire body looked weaker afterwards, but the large sword started glowing and flew towards Wang Lin like lightning. Wang Lin's eyes lit up. The moment the giant sword flew out, his G realm moved. A series of red lightning bolts shot out and surrounded the sword in an instant. After a series of cracking sounds, the giant sword slowly broke down. In the end, the G realm was used up and the giant sword turned to dust. Wang Lin reached for his bag of holding and took out several nascent souls that he had gotten from Ting family members. He consumed them to quickly recover the used-up energy. Ting Huiyuan stared dumbfoundedly at where the sword disappeared. His entire person suddenly became older. Wang Lin formed a seal with his right hand. He pressed it on his forehead, and the devil Shuligua, and the third devil quickly flew out. Under Wang Lin's command, they let out excited roars and charged toward the Ting family members. In the blink of an eye, several more people screamed miserably as they died. Every scream caused Ting Huiyuan's body to tremble. "Are you going to talk?" Wang Lin's voice was as cold as ice. Ting Huiyuan took a deep breath and closed his eyes. Wang Lin's face had no expression. He didn't even look at Ting Huiyuan as his hands formed seals, and he sent out a restriction. The restriction that surrounded Ting family city slowly shrank. The people that made it to the edge of the restriction looked at it in despair. When they saw the walls closing in, the Ting family members split into two groups. One group completely gave up, while the eyes of the people in the other group grew red, and they charged toward Wang Lin with their magic treasures like moths to a flame. More and more Ting family members charged toward Wang Lin. However, whenever they got within 1,000 feet of Wang Lin, they would be hit by a restriction. Their bodies would explode, creating a rain of blood that fell to the ground. His family's miserable screams entered Ting Huiyuan's ears. His body trembled violently, and his heart was filled with grief. He wanted to resist, but not even the magic treasure gifted by the higher rank cultivation country was of any use. Ting Huiyuan's appearance became even older. He no longer had the majestic complexion he once had. The only thing left was an old man who couldn't do anything as he watched his family die. "I'll speak." Ting Huiyuan revealed a deep hatred in his eyes as he looked at Wang Lin and said, word for word, "Since my Ting family has met with such disaster, then no one else should think of getting away either." Back then, it was the Piao Miao sect's Gao Chiming who used his heaven calculation skill to help me find the Wang family. It was him. Go find him. He is the first ancestor of the Piao Miao sect. His word is law at the Piao Miao sect, Gao Chiming. Wang Lin stared at Ting Huiyuan. It didn't matter if Ting Huiyuan was lying or not. Wang Lin remembered this name. Looking at Ting Huiyuan, Wang Lin's gaze suddenly shifted into the distance. His eyes were filled with killing intent. He waved his hand and the restriction, that was slowly shrinking, suddenly started to close in a lot faster. It went from 10,000 kilometers away to only few kilometers away in an instant. During the process, the people that died weren't even able to let out screams. At the same time, the heads flew one by one due to the effect of some mysterious force and landed on the Tower of Heads. The tower was now so tall, it touched the sky. At this point, everyone in the Ting family, besides Ting Huiyuan, had died. On the ground, the blood flowed like a river. The thick stench of blood was in the air. While staring dumbfoundedly at the scene before him, Ting Huiyuan suddenly started to laugh. His laugh was filled with sorrow as 2 streams of blood flowed down his cheeks. Wang Lin calmly looked at Ting Huiyuan. After a long time, Ting Huiyuan took a deep breath. He raised his head toward Wang Lin. His voice was filled with a sense of indignation as he said, "Good, good. From now on, the grudge between your Wang family and my Ting family is gone. I killed your entire family and you killed my family. It is karma, it really is. Wang Lin, you can kill me now." Wang Lin raised his right hand. His finger radiated a golden light. He moved the spiritual energy in his body to gather at his fingertip. But just at that moment, a loud roar came from the distance. "Stop!" Hearing this voice, Ting Huiyuan immediately recognized that it was Pan Nan Zi. He became excited and knew that he might have a chance to live today. His gaze toward Wang Lin was now filled with killing intent. His urge to live suddenly kicked in. If he had a sliver of a chance to live, then he wouldn't allow himself to be killed so easily. What grudge between the 2 families was gone? He only said it because he thought that he was going to die for sure. If he survives today, he will have to find a way to reach the spirit-severing stage no matter the cost, so that he could kill Wang Lin as cruelly as possible to get revenge. However, he thought too highly of Pan Nan Zi and underestimated Wang Lin. Wang Lin's divine sense was as powerful as a spirit-severing cultivator's divine sense. How could he not notice Pan Nan Zi from far away, and let Pan Nan Zi stop him? The moment Pan Nan Zi appeared, Wang Lin flicked the golden light on his finger onto Ting Huiyuan's forehead and killed him. It was indeed as Ting Huiyuan said, the grudge between the Ting family and Wang family was gone. The Ting family was now completely wiped out from this world. Pan Nan Zi's figure suddenly appeared before him. He looked at all of the blood on the ground, at the body of Ting Huiyuan, whose face had just gained a hint of an urge to live, and finally at the Tower of Heads. He couldn't help but shiver. He barely hesitated to form a seal with his hand. Beams of green and red light shot out from his bag of holding. Wang Lin's expression was calm as he stared at Pan Nan Zi and said, "You're late." Pan Nan Zi looked at Wang Lin. He was stunned. After carefully looking at Wang Lin, he said, You are a disciple of the Hengyu sect." Wang Lin looked at Pan Nan Zi and without a word, his Ji realm shot out. However, just as the red lightning bolt arrived before Pan Nan Zi, the green and red lights formed a shield before him. The moment the Ji realm landed, the 2 lights shone brightly. Ultimately, the 2 lights managed to block the Ji realm, but their lights dimmed greatly. Pan Nan Zi's expression changed greatly. Without wasting a moment, he bit the tip of his tongue and spat blood onto the green and red lights. Pan Nan Zi pointed at Wang Lin and shouted, "Go." Suddenly, the green and red lights darted forward. The space around them tore as they moved. Wang Lin's right hand pointed and all of the restrictions in the restriction flags came out in the shape of dragons to stop the advancement of the green and red lights. But the quality of the green and red lights was extremely high. The restrictions were only able to slow it down a bit, not stop it. Wang Lin's eyes lit up as his Ji realm appeared again. Its target wasn't the green and red lights. It was Pan Nan Zi. Pan Nan Zi's expression changed greatly. Just as Pan Nan Zi was facing a life and death situation, a giant hand appeared out of nowhere and grabbed the Ji realm lightning. The hand lightly squeezed and the red lightning bolt was destroyed, but at the same time, the giant hand shook and let out a soft grunt. Soon, a middle-aged man wearing luxurious clothes over a somewhat fat belly appeared before Pan Nan Zi. He looked at Wang Lin and was startled, but soon revealed a look of ecstasy and said, "So it was you." With that, he waved his right hand and the green and red lights quickly returned and flew around him. After the middle-aged man appeared, Pan Nan Zi relaxed a bit. He bowed and said, Greetings, Lord Messenger. Although Punnan Z relaxed a lot, his scalp was still tingling. He didn't know what kind of magic treasure that red lightning was, but when it closed in, he felt like he could die instantly. That sense of danger was something that he had only felt from the foreign battleground before. He didn't have any doubt that if the Lord Messenger hadn't appeared, he would have been a corpse right now. He looked at Wang Lin. Aside from a deep sense of fear, there was also a sense of regret. The middle-aged man stared at Wang Lin and slowly said, "I can't believe you didn't die, and in just a short 400 years reached such a high cultivation level. Very good. Hand over the heaven-defying bead and I'll spare your life. I'll let you become the #1 person in Zhao. How's that sound?" Wang Lin's expression was calm. This person's appearance was within his calculations. He felt this person's presence when he was 10,000 kilometers away. This person was the messenger from Heaven's Tower, someone from a rank 4 country. Wang Lin guessed that his cultivation level was spirit-severing. If he wasn't spirit-severing, then how could he so easily destroy the G-realm lightning? This person knowing that Wang Lin had the heaven-defying bead was also something that he had considered in his plan for revenge. So when he was in Zhao, he kept the entire country covered in his divine sense. That way, with his spirit-severing level divine sense, no one would be able to identify him. And no one could lock onto him with their divine sense. That was why this messenger never came out to find him during his killing spree. In fact, the middle-aged man had felt a headache in these past few days, because no matter how much he scanned Zhao with his divine sense, he couldn't find the person that was killing all of the Ting family members. Unless that person's divine sense was more powerful than Wang Lin's, it was impossible to sense him. It has to be said, although his cultivation level hadn't increased in the past 400 years, only in the early stage of spirit severing, no one in Zhao could surpass him. He never could have guessed that although Wang Lin's cultivation level was only at the early stage of nascent soul, Wang Lin's divine sense was as powerful as a late-stage spirit-severing cultivator's divine sense. Even if that messenger from the giant demon sect came in person, he also wouldn't be able to find Wang Lin. This kind of thing was extremely rare in the cultivation world. After all, Wang Lin was the only soul devourer walking around as a human. Also, there was that strange, red lightning. Although the middle-aged man made it look like he easily withstood the attack, in truth, the red lightning entered his body and damaged his soul. The damage wasn't very large, but it still made him afraid. After seeing the messenger appear, Wang Lin's eyes lit up and without a word he took out a drop of blood. A drop of golden-colored blood. A drop of golden-colored blood that was emitting the pressure of the ancient god. Wang Lin's eyes glowed with killing intent as he said, "I have been waiting for you for a long time." His right hand lightly pointed at the golden drop of blood. The blood suddenly started to boil. It turned into a golden symbol and flew into the sky. At that moment, a series of rumbles came from the sky and rays of golden light descended. The golden giant appeared under the rays of the golden light. When he appeared, the entirety of Zhao seemed to tremble. The heavens and earth were completely covered by this golden light. All of the mortals, all of the cultivators, all of the trees, and all of the animals were covered in this golden light. Although Wang Lin's expression was normal, the spiritual energy in his body rapidly depleted. The moment the giant appeared, Wang Lin struggled to point at the middle-aged man. The giant nodded. Its gaze swept toward where Wang Lin pointed, and he gently waved his hand. The middle-aged man's expression suddenly changed as he felt a strong sense of danger, causing him to grab Punnan Z, who was dumbfoundedly staring at the sky, and placed him in front of himself. Punnan Z's body turned to dust along with the middle-aged man's right hand. The middle-aged man let out a painful groan. His face was pale as he quickly retreated. At the same time, He reached into his bag of holding with his left hand and took out a jade. Without any hesitation, he crushed the jade. White light flooded out of the jade, surrounding him, and then he disappeared from the spot. The moment the middle-aged man disappeared, the giant also dissipated. Wang Lin's body trembled. He quickly took out pills from his bag of holding. He spread out his divine sense to look for traces of the middle-aged man. After a long time, Wang Lin frowned. That middle-aged man's presence had disappeared from Zhao. Thinking back to the jade that the middle-aged man crushed, Wang Lin began to analyze what had happened. That jade must have contained some sort of transfer array that would allow him to move long distances. The magic treasures of a rank 4 cultivation country are really beyond my imagination, Wang Lin muttered to himself. He then took a deep breath. In truth, his guess was very accurate. What the middle-aged man used was an escape jade given to all core disciples of his sect. As long as they were within a certain range, they could return to the sect in an instant. The messenger was really terrified of Wang Lin. According to his knowledge, Wang Lin's technique was the giant demon sex technique. The power of this technique was terrifying. Not even he was sure if he could block it. He had already seen the technique twice in Zhao, so he believed that Wang Lin could use it a third time. For this kind of enemy, even though Wang Lin was only at the nascent soul stage, he still didn't dare to mess with. That's why he didn't have any hesitation to use Punnan Zi as a shield to give him enough time to escape. Wang Lin sat cross-legged on the ground to recover his spiritual energy. After a long time, he stood up, waved his right hand, and picked up the tower made of Ting family members' heads. At a village at the foot of the Hengyu mountain, all of the villagers fell to the ground asleep after a strange wind blew by. Shortly after, a tower of heads appeared before the Wang family's house. Under the tower, Wang Lin knelt to the ground and kowtowed as tears flowed down his cheeks. He just stared at his home like this until night came. Then Wang Lin sighed, hit the tower with his hand, and the tower of heads turned to dust. I have avenged our family. Mom, Dad, your son is going to walk his own path now. Wang Lin silently stood up and left the village. After he left, all of the villagers woke up. After they noticed that it was already dark, they all knelt to the ground, praying to the immortals to protect them. Wang Lin flew in the air. The mosquito beast had already been put away. He arrived at a valley. This is where he died before. Looking at the valley, Wang Lin took a deep breath, then stared at the sky. He thought of many things as the scene from 400 years ago replayed over and over in his mind and wouldn't go away. Now that the Ting family was destroyed, he no longer had any weight on his shoulders. His mentality suddenly underwent a change. Wang Lin understood that he was no longer a mortal, and had already walked onto the path of a cultivator. This road was tough and full of danger, but he had to be determined to keep walking down this road. 400 of years' experience showed him that power was the only means to protect himself. The dream he had as a child to become an immortal intensified infinitely at that moment. And there was also Sichu Nan. Only after his cultivation level has reached the soul transformation stage can Sichu Nan can leave the heaven-defying bead. And there was also the vast universe from the ancient gods' memories, along with the countless powerful life forms that shocked Wang Lin greatly. Wang Lin stood up as he looked into the distance. His eyes were filled with a fantastic light. At that moment, Wang Lin's mentality changed. He was once a kid that wanted to get revenge for his parents' murder. Now that his revenge was complete, he would now pursue the peak of cultivation and become a true immortal. Wang Lin took a deep breath. His body moved and he jumped off the cliff. He arrived at the spot where he died before and suddenly disappeared from there. Piao Miao Sect. Gao Chiming sat inside his own chamber with a bronze mirror before him. His expression was extremely ugly. 200 years ago, he foresaw that he was going to suffer a great disaster. However, that disaster was very uncertain, so he couldn't get exact details with only his cultivation level. As time passed, the impending sense of doom became even stronger. When the Ting family members started to die, he was suddenly able to calculate his remaining lifespan. He only had 10 days left. If he didn't die in 10 days, then the disaster would affect the entire Piao Miao sect. Today was the 10th day. Jiao Chiming had always believed in the heaven's way, because that was his cultivation path. He knew that he must die today, otherwise the Piao Miao sect would be in danger. That was why he had already started planning for his death a few days ago. At this moment, he had no more regrets. He took a deep breath, looked at his surroundings with regret, and hit his forehead with his palm. Blood leaked out of the corner of his mouth, his vision became blurry, and the light in his eyes faded. At that moment, he suddenly saw a scene from 400 years ago. It was when Ting Huiyuan asked him to find the location of the family of a foundation establishment disciple. He gained a hint of understanding, then he closed his eyes and died. Wang Lin looked at Zhao from next to the ancient transfer array. He then opened up the array and disappeared from Zhao. 10 days later, an evil-looking youth appeared next to the transfer array. He looked at the transfer array and walked into it without any hesitation. In a valley millions of miles away from Zhao, Wang Lin's figure slowly appeared. The moment he appeared, he spread out his divine sense, then carefully checked out his map. Then he quickly moved, seeking the next transfer array. Wang Lin knew that the owner of the bag of holding was closing in from behind. If he didn't lose him, then he couldn't cultivate in peace. Therefore, his goal was the ancient transfer arrays. He had quite a bit of top-quality spirit stones, so he could use them several times. Half a month later, Wang Lin arrived at an ancient transfer array. After he checked it out, he stood in the middle of it, took out a top-quality spirit stone, and placed it on the array. But at that moment, a dark cloud suddenly appeared. The cloud gathered and formed the figure of the evil-looking youth. The youth stared at Wang Lin. Wang Lin's heart sank. The youth's speed was several times faster than what he originally thought. Wang Lin also wasn't able to determine this person's cultivation level with his divine sense. He felt an extreme sense of danger. If one relied solely on the top-quality spirit stone to start the array, then it would take 10 breaths of time to transfer them. However, in this crisis, Wang Lin desperately poured his spiritual energy into the transfer array to speed up the activation. In the end, in the same moment the evil-looking youth arrived, rings of light floated up from the transfer array, and Wang Lin's body disappeared. The evil-looking youth let out a roar. His hand formed a seal. The moment Wang Lin disappeared, he charged into the rings of light. After using an unknown technique, he caused the transfer array to activate again, and disappeared among the rings of light. Wang Lin felt a sense of extreme danger during the transfer process. He could clearly feel that a divine sense that was powerful beyond his imagination swept toward him like a tornado. Wang Lin felt terrified in his heart. Just as the divine sense swept toward him, his G realm formed a never-seen-before thick red lightning bolt that charged toward the youth. The impact of the G realm made the divine sense pause for a bit. At that moment, a light appeared in the other end and Wang Lin quickly charged toward it. After he came out, he violently coughed out several mouthfuls of blood. The nascent soul formed by his avatar shrunk, and seemed to be ready to collapse at any moment. But Wang Lin didn't pause as he quickly moved. He disappeared and reappeared 100 meters away. However, he didn't continue to run, but took out a red thread from his bag of holding. Wang Lin knew that no matter how hard he tries to escape, he won't be able to escape from that person's speed. Also, His nascent soul had taken too much damage. If he kept running, that person wouldn't even have to act. He would die from his nascent soul collapsing. This was the most powerful weapon he currently possessed. The moment he took out the divine retribution lightning, he also took out a bottle of pills and dumped them into his mouth. The evil-looking youth appeared 10 feet away from Wang Lin. As he stared at the thread in Wang Lin's hand, his expression became unsettled. This video will end here. Thank you for watching.